Final preparations are underway right now for tonight's ball drop here in the Big Apple, where an estimated 1 million people are expected to pack into Times Square. And I want to give you a live look at that ball atop One Times Square. This year's centerpiece there is covered in nearly 2,700 crystals. It weighs in at a whopping 12,000 pounds. And while there's no specific threat to tonight's planned celebrations, federal, state, and local officials say they, quote, remain concerned that tonight's festivities in New York City could be targeted by protesters or bad actors. Let's go live to Times Square here in Manhattan and NBC News correspondent Emilie Ikeda. Emilie, talk to us more about how everyone's getting ready for tonight and why there's concern for New York City, even if there is no specific threat.
Yeah, hey there, Anna. Happy New Year to you. Well, consider the fact that more than 1 million people are packing into a small vicinity here at Times Square to carry out a tradition that dates back more than 100 years ago, the ball drop in Times Square. And when it comes to these high-profile events, they have traditionally been targeted, as you mentioned, by bad actors, especially when you consider the geopolitical tensions happening right now. New York City, for instance, has been operating under a heightened security threat since October 7th. They also take into consideration, as they are planning their sweeping security effort, recent events. Earlier this month, a driver rammed his vehicle into a crowded Christmas market in Germany. So I sat down with the NYPD's counterterrorism department to talk about how they're considering these types of things. Take a listen.
We calibrate our counterterrorism overlay based on lessons we learn from incidents, whether they happen here in our city or elsewhere around the world.
And to secure this area, the NYPD deploying a sweeping security effort that includes concrete blockades and sand trucks. They also have thousands of officers in and out of uniform, K-9 teams, their aviation unit, drones, just to name a few of the items. Those drones, by the way, they're monitoring the crowds in real time, but they're also looking for other malicious drone activity. Just one of the things they have to take into consideration at massive events like this, Anna.
Yeah, Emily, we talked about 1 million people packing the streets. These are people traveling from across the country and from around the world. What do they need to know about tonight? And how do they prepare to go the distance? I mean, people are already starting to funnel into that area.
Yeah, that's right. Some extreme measures, some 12 plus hours out from the ball drop. Now, there is rain in the forecast, but it's important to note that for these hundreds of thousands of visitors, umbrellas are a no-go here in Times Square, along with a number of other things, including large backpacks, folding chairs, coolers, and alcohol. Visitors will have to go through counterterrorism checkpoints and screenings in order to access this region. Police this morning are encouraging the public to stay alert, calling the public part of their strongest force multiplier in an effort to help ring in the new year, of course, safely. Anna.
Emilie Ikeda, thank you. And we hope you stay safe and warm and dry and all of that good stuff. So for anyone planning to ring in the new year in Times Square, the good news is it won't be too cold. The bad news is it could be wet. Worst news, you can't bring an umbrella, so some forecasts are telling us that this New Year's Eve could be one of the rainiest in recent years. NBC meteorologist Angie Lassman has the details. Angie?
Hi there, Anna. The all-important New Year's Eve forecasting. We've got a couple of trouble spots to talk about. Let's deal with first the rain and the snow that's centered across the Ohio Valley. This system's going to be on the move here over the next day or so it will impact others. But the big picture look for holiday travel elsewhere, we don't have a whole lot going on. It's going to be a lot of sunshine out west. So I would say if you're hitting maybe the air or the roads, it's going to be this region, Chicago, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, that you'll have to watch for. Maybe a couple delays here and there. On the roads, I-96, I-70 could be a little wet, maybe a little snowy if you're into parts of Michigan, where we will see some of that snow working through. But otherwise, again, the rest of the country looks pretty good. Here's the system that we're going to close out the year with. It will eventually, as the later parts of the day get on, will work its way into the Northeast, bringing rain for folks there. And notice we could see a couple of thunderstorms hugging the coast as well. So heads up, there will be some lightning associated with that. The system's going to be a quick mover out of the picture here by the time we get into the later parts of tomorrow as we kick off the new year. But notice some of these snow showers still stick around, especially downwind of the lakes. We'll have to be watching for that. As far as New Year's Eve in Times Square goes, unfortunately, the rain is going to be with us. The good news is most of the heavy rain will start to taper off, but we'll still see some of those showers out there. The even better news is temperatures are quite mild, 51 degrees. Of course, we've seen much chillier New Year's Eves in Times Square, so the temperatures will be doable. But again, that rain gear, those ponchos are going to be necessary for folks there. Otherwise, across the country at midnight, chilly conditions for parts of the northern plains. We'll still see the cool conditions and the clear conditions lasting across the south, stretching to the southeast, and even out west. Most of us are quiet. We just have one storm system that we're going to watch start to ramp up and really get going as we get into tomorrow for the Pacific Northwest, parts of Northern California, stretching up through Oregon and Washington. We'll deal with some additional rain and snow across that region. The place to be, in my opinion, the south. We've got widespread sunshine to kick off 2025. We've got temperatures that are mild into parts of Florida. We'll be into the 70s. Really a good forecast there. But some of that lake effect snow is still going to stick around across parts of the Northeast, Anna.
Well, I'll daydream we're in the South. Thank you, Angie Lassman.